Yay, I know, I love her.
Look, you're playing the intro? Guys, what's up? It's Jerry Miller. I'm at I Love CVille, and we're having a fantastic day. It's Thursday right before Christmas. We're happy. We're in good spirits. We're going to welcome a good friend in this show, Kathryn Matthews, to the program, the entrepreneur and owner behind Iron Paffles and Coffee on Water Street. Folks, Kathryn legitimately invented and created a new business category in Charlottesville. And I want to talk to her about this because she is a fearless, courageous, visionary entrepreneur. And we're going to talk about how she's built this brand on Water Street into, I would say, having a cult following. Let's pay the bills. Let's thank the sponsors first. Greenberry's Coffee for more than 27 years has been Charlottesville's longest running coffee roasters. We're so grateful for Sean and Roxanne Simmons, husband and wife team who built a business in Charlottesville out of the McIntyre office park with a beat up Honda Civic. And now it's global in Japan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and soon to be Portland. I love stuff like that. Also want to thank Scott Wagner, Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Another Charlottesville success story. I mean, a doctor that starts practice out of Seminole, and now it's the new Quinn Farmer Auction House is Scott Wagner's practice. I mean, 4 doctors now, soon to be 5 for Dr. Wagner. We salute entrepreneurs that are doing big-time things. And let's go to the two-shot and welcome an entrepreneur that's doing big-time things, and Kathryn Matthews. Kathryn, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
Oh,
very nice.
It was easy. It was easy.
Really good. Thank you.
And we have followed your brand's growth from the beginning. I've watched on social how you build your brand, your logo, your social media presence. You're one of the best at social media in Charlottesville. I'm going to start open-ended with you. Tell us about Iron Paffles and Coffee.
So, Iron Paffles and Coffee at 214 West Water Street. We make puff pastry waffles. They're all butter. They act as the bread for a sandwich. They're super light. They're versatile. So we use it for sweet and savory. Any specials. We try and do different things every single week. You've probably seen tikka masala, the Reuben. This week we're doing a pot pie. So, yeah, it's very delicious, versatile.
She's a businesswoman who's using both sides of her brain, guys. The creative side with what she's doing as a chef and also the business side as well. I mean, how do you come up with the idea? I mean, I'm sure you get this all the time, don't you?
I mean, and I like this question.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't put it on the website, because I like people asking. So, basically, when I was in college and we ran out of bread, we would use whatever leftover puff pastry that I made. My grandmother taught me to make pastry when I was very young, so this is something that I would just do. We'd keep in the freezer. And when I was in college, we would use it to make like sausage sandwiches, bacon buddies, all the British favorites. And my friends loved it. It was really good. I didn't think I would own a restaurant selling it, but, people love it.
So your friends in college, they go, Kathryn's got skills. You're creative. You create the early stages of the product. When do you realize that this could potentially be a business?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Charlottesville.
Yeah?
Yeah, because when I first moved to the United States, I was in Greenville, North Carolina, and I was going for something completely different. But then when I came to Charlottesville, I was just so inspired by the different cuisines, that people are all foodies, they've got sophisticated palates. And I thought, why not? It's something I'm passionate about, and I think it's something that everyone's going to enjoy.
And I think your palate, Kathryn, is very sophisticated for a number of reasons, and I want you to offer that perspective to the audience. Reason number one is, let's say you grew up in a different country.
Yeah.
So your palate is more refined because you're trying things that we're not trying here. Reason number two, you just let us know you were a flight attendant. Yeah. So you're traveling globally and enjoying the most authentic food possible made by folks from that country that they eat every day.
Yeah, that's correct. I was a flight attendant in Dubai. We traveled all over the world. We traveled New Zealand, we went to India, Thailand, South Africa, South America, you name it. So we tried the best of the best in each country. Usually there's a local on the flight who will take us to the best local restaurants. So that really helps.
That's awesome. Kathryn Matthews, our guest, the owner of Iron Paffles and Coffee. Laura Fonner, thank you for joining us. Gilly Garf, Scott Elworth, David Cathcart, Patrick Robbins, Quentin Johnson II, Carl Smead. We appreciate you joining us on the broadcast. How about the Water Street location? Did you feel that this, because it was a new product, it was something that had not been seen before, had to be downtown because of the energy and the entrepreneurs that are downtown?
Yeah. I mean, downtown is a great spot for small local businesses. I think Barracks Road, which is another location, is for more refined, larger businesses, which are going to invest a lot more money. I wasn't in that spot in that time. Water Street is interesting because it's not quite the downtown mall. You don't have...
you get a lower price point.
Yeah, lower price point, but not as much foot traffic. So we get people who travel explicitly to that area just to come and see us. And I think it's got a lot of potential with everything that's going to happen on Water Street.
Yeah, I think she's in a great spot because I think downtown is migrating to Ix, and it's going to eventually become this one big pedestrian corridor gateway, and she's smack dab right in the middle of it. So I think you picked a phenomenal spot. I mean, did you bootstrap everything from the beginning? Was it all your money? I mean, where I'm going with this, there's a lot of small business owners watching.
Yeah.
They want to be in your position.
Yeah.
Offer some advice. How did you get to this spot?
I mean, I got a loan for mine, and you have to have 30% of the funding before you can get a loan. A lot of people don't realize that.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. But I also did it relatively cheap compared to a lot of people.
Okay.
Like my loan was only $90,000.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, and
the whole build out?
Yeah, and we renovated entire
So you had to put
kitchen.
30 up front. Okay,
Yeah.
you had 30 down, and then 60 from the bank?
90 from
90
the
from the bank.
bank.
Okay,
Yeah,
$120 total.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and we renovated the whole thing into a kitchen, and that's really hard for that price point. So that was something I'm proud of.
And Kathryn, you did it extremely well.
Yeah.
It looks great. And the renovations match the identity of the brand.
Yeah.
The industrial feel.
Yeah, and that was really important as well. Like, we wanted everything to match. So some of the locations downtown we looked at were really great, but they just didn't have the feel for
your brand.
Yeah.
Who did the work?
Well, we asked Jason Roberts with Builder Beast LLC. That was his first kitchen product.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you got a good deal probably for that.
Yeah. He was very helpful, He used his expertise. So, and also he does really good stuff with industrial repurposing different products. So he's really good to look at for that kind of thing.
So this is a great story, and you're killing it already. So, and we have a lot of folks on the cast. Thank you, Sarah Hill, for joining us, George Collier, Jessica Russo, John Wyatt, Carl Smead. We're talking with Kathryn Matthews, the owner of Iron Paffles and Coffee. This is a great story. So 18 months ago, she has $30K of her own money, $90K from the bank, $120,000, and you're saying, I am going to be a business owner and I'm going to launch it right here on Water Street. Was there a point when you're like, holy shit, this is so real? I'm like, was there a point? Can you tell that story?
Yeah. I mean, during the build out, when things start getting delayed and, you're spending a lot of money, there's always times when you feel like this is not going to happen, this is not going to work. And you do have a lot of doubts, especially when it starts stretching out a little. And then when you get speaking to other owners who have done it for like 400, 500,000, that's
you're
when
like, what's wrong, right?
Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've not got that amount of money. And, you just have to believe in yourself. Like, you always find a way to do it. Always. You find ways to cut costs. You find ways, like in the beginning, we were like, okay, let's scrap the espresso machine. We'll put that in later. And we did put it in later. So you just make it work. You just have to have confidence. So.
That right there is a sizzle reel waiting to happen, Judah. Let's cut that into a 1-minute highlight, starting with my question and finishing with her answer. That was money right there. When you decided, like, to the build out here, how much do you invest in the kitchen? How much do you invest on the front end? Like, how do you allocate the $120,000?
So you have to do, you work out the budget before and you have to stick to that budget.
And you
can't
did?
dip from different things. Yeah, I did. And you just have to make sacrifices to make different things work. Like the original plan we had to scrap the entire thing. And actually it worked a lot better for us. It just looks really great.
Yeah, it looks great.
So,
it does.
Yeah. So
how do you get a plan in place? Like, how does an entrepreneur who's never run a restaurant or a business even put a plan together?
Yeah, so I have a hospitality degree. So
So
I kind of learned,
experience.
I learned how to do it. I also wrote business plans when I was in Spain for a bar for an expansion. So that was a lot of experience. But there's also a lot of resources online, like Forbes.com has really good industry specific for different price ranges. And that's a really good resource to use because you can find out what's expected of you. And a lot of the things I'd forgotten from school, and I learned retaught myself how to do the cash flow and the budgeting and the balance sheets. Like, you have to have the projections for 3 years in there even though you don't have a location yet.
So you have to have the model in place to go to the bank.
You have to go in and say, like, this is how much money I'm going to make in 3 years. And this is based on research from different restaurants in different areas for Charlottesville. So you have to do a lot of forecasts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
That's another sizzle reel waiting to happen right there with me saying, how did you start the plan? And her fabulous answer, because I think you really are helping people. There's a lot of people in the cast right here. Fernando Garay, thank you for joining us. Fernando's going to join us. Fernando's about to open a barbershop on the corner, so he's tuning in. John Updike, Meg O'Mara, who works at the Southern Crescent, watching us now. Kathryn Matthews, our guest, the owner of Iron Paffles and Coffee. The first few months, and I went in there as a customer. You and I did some work together briefly with I Love CVille, and I remember early with the business, one of your struggles was finding a go-to staff and team that could help offset the hours, because the tough part about this business is you have to come in early and bake it from scratch. So you're getting, when's the first person arriving? 4?
It was 4 in the morning. Sometimes if it was super busy, I would be coming in at 2 a.m. and leaving at like 7 in the evening.
2 a.m. to 7 p.m. How did your man respond to that?
I mean, he's busy with his PhD as well.
Gotcha.
So he's also, I mean, he probably appreciated having time to get work done.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So how did you get the staff because the hours are really long.
Yeah.
How do you do it, and how long did it take?
I mean, it took a lot longer than I anticipated it to take. I would say a good 9 months before I found a really good team. And actually, I mean, Charlottesville is really difficult to find good staff because there's so many restaurants. But I think a lot of it came down to me and my management style. And you have to set boundaries right away. Like, as soon as they start on that first day, you have to set your rules, your expectations. And don't let people get away with things that other staff can't get away with.
Sure. So how did your management style mature?
Well, I think at first I wanted to be like everyone's friends. I was scared to offend people, but then I let people kind of take advantage, like being on their cell phone, coming in late, not finishing work. So as soon as I said, when people are doing mistakes like preparing recipes wrong, being on their cell phone, like I set these rules saying you can't be on this, you can't be late, this is what's going to happen if you are late.
Have you had to fire anyone?
Too many people,
yeah.
But
how hard is that?
At first, it was really, really
because
hard.
You're like a compassionate, sincere, genuine person.
Yeah,
you don't like the adversity, I don't think.
Yeah, no. And I care about people.
You care about people
too. I invest a lot in my staff and their lives. I want them to do well. And one of the good things I like to do is like, this is your job right now, but I want to help you do better in the future and give you skills that you can take to a different job.
I love that.
Yeah. But I think it's important, to help people. It motivates them.
Because most of the staff members are still going through maturity? Yeah. Some people are like students. We have people who want to own their own establishments as well. And, I have the skills to do that. I'm willing to share it if they want to learn. So. I love it. Kathryn Matthews is on fire right now. When did you find it appointed? Let's thank some of the people watching. Cameron Childress, thank you for joining us here on the show. If you guys have a question for Kathryn, put it in the chat box. We're happy to relay it to her. We do have some questions from the Instagram that I'll get to here. When did you realize that, man, this is something, this is going to work? I'm past that, because I feel like with my business, 6 months in, I was spinning my wheels so hard. This was in 2008, and I was like you. I was like doing everything. I was working too hard. I didn't click. And then Andy McClure, who owns the Biltmore, Citizen Burger Bar, the Virginian, he owned 3 at the time on the corner. He owned West Main at the time. He came to me and said, I'd like to give you a chance to build our websites. And we started with one website, and it was the Virginian restaurant. And I crushed it for him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you can have all my restaurants.
Yeah.
And then that's when I was like, this is a business.
Great.
That was like my aha moment.
Yeah.
Did you have an aha moment with your business?
Yeah, I did. I think in the beginning, because I'm doing something so different, and the process took so long, and different people would tell you, even at the health department, or when you're getting your permits, people kind of chuckled at me when I told them what my forecasts were, for example, and a lot of things knocked my confidence. And in the beginning, it's such a unique product, and having consistency and teaching your staff to do it consistent. I lost a lot of confidence when people weren't really receiving it as well as I would like. And, people always liked the products, but it just takes one bad comment for you to feel like really discouraged.
Especially in restaurants.
In restaurants, yeah.
Yeah, because people, for some reason, and it's not in other businesses, but for some reason, people are just nasty online when it comes to food.
Yeah,
it's like they're hangry.
Yeah, it's hangry. Yeah, that's what I always think it is. So, I mean, there was like one point when I, restarted with my staff and then restarted the brand, and I started being there. Like, I was already there a lot, but I started being there more often and doing things exactly how I wanted it to be. So I knew that every single sandwich that goes out is perfect, it's delicious. And if it's not for everyone, I know the food's good, it's just not for them. So for me, like, that 8-month period when the food went out and it was just like really good and I was receiving a lot of good feedback, I had confidence in the products.
I love it, and the confidence is contagious, and it shows.
It is.
And it radiates through your brand, it radiates through your social media, through your menu.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel the confidence, and I feel like that is something that the consumer wants.
Yeah, it really reflects through the social media as well. Like, I've noticed, like, our reception from the beginning on social media to now, like, we get a lot more likes, we get a lot more comments. So.
Well, I mean, and we have to talk about your strategy of social media. And Judah, we should cut this into a segment by itself, Kathryn Matthews and how she's built a brand on social media. Because, guys, she has built a phenomenal brand on social. You are so authentic. You're yourself. And on top of social media, you're consistent. Like, I see so many brands taking, like, such a long period off. Like, you can't, like, go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday real hard, take a week off, and then go because people don't want that.
No.
You're consistent every day. And on top of that, guys, Kathryn uses every platform because she knows it reaches different kinds of people. Open-ended, you take the show here. What is Kathryn Matthews' strategy for social media? Because people will apply this to their business.
Yeah. So I mean, when I was in college, there wasn't much emphasis on social media. So I just took what I learned in marketing, and that's you have to be consistent. Like, you can pay a radio station to do your ads for like 5 months, and it might be effective, but the month you stop doing it, people are going to forget about you. So if you post every day, people are going to see like, oh, look, Iron Paffles, like, it's open, it's here, this is the special, I'm going to use them. I think it's also important to put a bit of yourself in there, because people don't want to see like an engineered business when they're following someone on social media. They want to see true people,
authenticity.
real people. Yeah. Especially in like a small city like Charlottesville as well, There's times when I've posted like, very engineered posts like, oh, we have this promo today. And, my reception isn't very good.
You're talking about like a post that's just like call to action, very salesy,
Yeah.
product, price, come buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people don't respond to that as well as something which is a little bit more, funny, witty.
Like cheeky, catchy.
And cheeky, yeah, cheeky as well, yeah. So I think that's like really, really important. And it's also different important. Like, Facebook is now like for an older crowd, and I hate to admit that because I'm part of that crowd.
Me too.
But
Me too.
But it's for the locals. Instagram, like, you'll be surprised how many people will take a detour in Virginia because they've seen our post like top on Instagram when they're searching for like food, for example.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
So you have tourists coming to Charlottesville that are typing in one of the key hashtags for Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Your photo, because of its engagement on IG, is
Yeah.
at top of the search.
Yeah.
They click it and they come in.
Yeah, and it works, So
That is
yeah.
so awesome. And one of the things I think you do really well, and why I'm bringing this up, is because I find it fascinating. Billy, thank you for joining us. Kyle, thank you for joining us. A lot of questions coming in on the IG we will get to. You have made yourself, you are unafraid to make yourself part of the brand.
Yeah.
I think you realize, and a lot of entrepreneurs, I think, struggle with this. I struggle with this in the beginning. They're like, why? Maybe they don't want to see me.
Yeah.
Or maybe like I shouldn't be in front of the company. Or what if I try to sell the company and it's tied to me? Eventually, I was just like, dudes, I got to be here and doing this because this is what people want. You've done that from the beginning. You weren't afraid to be the brand ambassador.
Yeah. And I think it's important, especially, in a small city, I keep talking about this, but I also think it's important to have a good balance. Like, it's different, with yours, but for restaurants and, it goes for like, clothing stores and things as well. you have to have balance between the food and between you. Like, if it's something to do with like a political thing in Charlottesville, then you definitely have to have your face there. But if it's just like, the products, you should just make it about the food. So I think balance is important when it comes to that.
You mentioned the political piece. I asked this question to everyone who comes on the show, and you've already filled 20 minutes, and it's felt like 5 minutes. Josh White, thank you for joining us. Kathryn Matthews is crushing it right now. Your business pre-August 12th and post-August 12th.
Yeah.
Start open-ended, and then I'll ask you specifics. Put it in perspective.
It was difficult for me because it was my first year in business, and I wasn't sure what to expect in Charlottesville that time of year. For sure, I felt students are back, so it's going to get busier, and it really didn't. Like, there was
after August 12th?
After August 12th, yeah. And even like through September, which I think, well, judging on this year's sales, one of our busiest times. So I wasn't sure, like, maybe students take a longer time to come downtown, but we literally went from having like a huge lunch rush to maybe getting 1 or 2 people in every day. And I wasn't sure, like, it's hard not to take it personally your first year.
Of course. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was because of what happened or if that's just a usual pattern in Charlottesville. So
I think it's unfortunately the pattern.
Yeah.
And it stinks because, and we have a lot of our contemporaries on the show. Tiffany Smith, who owns the Virginia shop, she said the same. So let's get into specifics. What do we do?
Yeah.
Because we can't continue on this trend.
No, we can't. And I think it's important to, build a different brand in Charlottesville, let people know, like, we're not about that. We're diverse, maybe focus on different businesses that prove that we have diversity and different price points.
Did you hear from your family who was not from Charlottesville? They're like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
You did? I did too.
Yeah, so I have, and because I was a flight attendant, I have friends all over the world.
Right.
And this was like international news, so I heard about it from everyone.
And you're like, these aren't our people.
Yeah. Everyone was just shocked because a lot of people, even though I moved to Charlottesville, they hadn't heard of it before and no one gave a second thought about it. And after that, everyone knew where Charlottesville was.
And I can relate to that as well because my wife is from Long Island and her family, what they knew, and James Watson, thank you for joining us on the show. Kathryn Matthews, our guest of Iron Paffles and Coffee. My wife's family is from Long Island, and they're like watching CNN and the national news, and they're like, what the hell is going on there, Jerry? Is this how it's like every day? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No, it's not like this every day here.
No.
What do you feel compelled as a business owner? What's our role? Because I ask this my question all the time, and maybe my role is a little bit different because my business is based on the best of Charlottesville here. But what is our role as a business owner to help solve this?
I think working together certainly helps, and then proving that we do have diversity. There's I'm not sure if you're familiar with Downtown CVille, which is a new website launched.
I am.
In partnership, with
with
business.
The DVAC.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a really good way that we can work together to rebrand the downtown mall and, let people know that that's not what we're about.
Do you think the mall needs rebranding?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Tell me about this.
Yeah. So I think the downtown, a lot of people, and, I read a lot of the comments, not just from some of the extreme people, but from people who are from Charlottesville. And, people who are from different ethnicities saying that they felt like downtown Charlottesville is just for like white privileged people. And I can understand why they would feel that way because a lot of the restaurants, like price points are really expensive. The food is aimed at certain people. Like there's not much different things for different people. So it kind of, with everything that happens, it kind of scares people away.
You don't feel you feel it's exclusive and not inclusive.
I do,
And you feel it's more of like, and I don't want to talk for you here.
Yeah.
But do you feel it's more of like still like a fraternity or old boys club?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, I do. And not many people know this about me, but I came from a really poor background as well. So when I first came to Charlottesville, I really felt it. So I think, if I feel it, certainly other people are going to feel it too.
Yeah,
so.
Gosh, you're killing it today.
Thank you.
That is another highlight waiting to happen, Judah. Mark that right there. Another sizzle reel clip. So is that why you're jumping in the mix at a price point because you're right. What is the price point that is the 15 and under? What is the $15 and under price point downtown? It's Iron Paffles and Coffee.
Yeah.
Revolutionary Soup. Christian's Pizza.
Yeah, the flat.
The flat. Bagby's. Not many. So how do we change it? Do we change the conversation by having more price points like that?
Yeah, it's really difficult because it's actually really expensive to buy food in Charlottesville, like especially local. But if you talk to people from Cisco, for example, they'll tell you the price point's one of the highest in the country. So it's also difficult to, lower that price point
Yeah,
too.
because if you lower that price point, you guys are going to have to do ridiculous volume.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
like these restaurants that have that higher price point, the 20 and over, they're saying, look, we're going to do maybe 80 covers, 100 covers an entire day.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is where our margin is.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's down to like maybe the DBAC giving opportunities to different people to offer that price point. Like maybe if there's grants that they can offer to different people to get people to open up businesses downtown. I don't know if this matters for that.
Would you have done it again downtown?
I would have done it downtown. Yeah, I would. Yeah.
And I think you made the right call because of what you said. It's like more open mind. Well, to a certain extent, more open-minded, and they certainly welcomed you with open arms.
Yeah.
When you opened for business and people were coming in and they're saying, what is a Paffle? What is this about? What am I doing here? What was your response to them right there? Were you like, oh my gosh, I have a serious marketing effort in front of me?
Yeah, I didn't. I like explaining it to people, and I like to tell people it's going to be different. Like, don't expect it to be like a waffle. Like, even when we explained it to people, some people still expected to have a waffle, and I would get emails after saying like, my waffle was really flaky, So
I like that.
yeah, I do. I know. Me too. I think it's more versatile, and people are surprised how light it is. It's not as dense. It's not as filling as you think it's going to be. So. And
one of the things, and April Ward, thank you for joining us on the broadcast. One of the things that I admire about you is like you've been involved in all aspects of the brand. Your packaging. It's not a holder. How do you describe it?
Yeah,
the packaging that the Paffle served in.
I guess like a pie holder.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to do something that
It's
would
so
help
versatile.
with the, yeah. I wanted to do something that would help with the marketing as well. And I think that's something people like to take photos with on Instagram. So it's definitely worth the investment.
Well, your product is so like IG friendly.
Yeah.
Because it's like you can turn it from the side. It's so unique. I mean, it's screaming social and like a selfie or a picture of it.
Yeah.
Is that something when you were putting it together, you're like, I have to win this battle here, Kathryn?
Yeah. And I think that's like really important. I think it's something a lot of people don't take advantage of as well and probably should.
Do you see a second Paffles happening?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
North of town? West? Where do you think?
Probably in Richmond area, but I'm also in talks with investors in DC.
Get out of town, girl. So what's the thing is this is like your beta. This is your proof of concept. People are coming to you because you have a proof of concept that's had success, and they're coming to you asking if you can scale or you want to scale?
Yeah. I had someone ask me if I wanted to have a pop-up in Union Market. I had some investors.
How are you going to manage that, though?
Yeah,
because you can't clone yourself.
I know, that's the thing. I know, it's really hard. You have to write another business plan and work out the schematics. A lot of people don't realize with a business plan, like when you're writing it, you don't know at the end of this business plan if it's actually going to work until it's finished.
Yeah, it's so fluid.
Yeah, exactly. So, I never say yes to people. I'm like, I'm going to write a business plan, see if this is, going to work.
Well, I think your you would be first to market. It's not out there now. I think you have a proof of concept in Charlottesville. If you get some private equity or some angel investment money, you could probably go to 2 or 3 units. Then you do proof of concept again, and then you could roll out some more.
Yeah.
And I think the really cool thing about your model as well is you've proven that the barrier of entry is not as high as most restaurants.
Yeah.
Which means you could scale much quicker than most restaurants.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you're coming in with like Chopped and Barracks Road and investing $1 million into Ruby Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So, is this real? What do you think the timeline for this could be? This excites me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I would like to say in a year or so, but that's still kind of
ambitious.
It's ambitious. It intimidates me a little, but when these things happen, they happen fast. So
this is something I struggle with. So I am the entrepreneur. My wife and Bobby Kirby, thank you for joining us. April Ward says she has tried them and they are absolutely delicious.
Oh, thank
you.
So
April Ward, thank you.
Yeah.
Kathryn says thank you. Aaron Richardson from the Daily Progress is joining us. Thank you, Aaron, for joining us. This is something I struggle with. So I started this business 10 years ago. My wife works in the business, is a key component now in the business, and has been doing it for 3 years. I struggle with this, finding the work and personal family life balance. We've touched on this a little bit. Your husband is pursuing a PhD at UVA. Smart guy, nice guy. I've met him. Loves beer, loves to be outside.
Yeah, he does.
He's very supportive of you.
Yeah.
Very supportive of you. How is that going to impact the growth of the brand? And where I'm going with this, and if you say, Jerry, shut up, this is not a question for you. It seems to me like once you get a PhD, do you not then move?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It's so difficult because he's doing a PhD in archaeology, Byzantine archaeology. So we don't know where he'll be. There's only a certain amount of schools that he could apply for as well that are hiring at the time that he's in the market as well. So I guess we're just going to see. But I think he's going to be in a major city. So this is something I could transfer to a major city. I would still hopefully keep the location here.
Yeah. And then you can find like an operating partner down here. I guess where I'm going with this is like, how do you struggle like I struggle with explaining to Laura, my wife, I Love CVille is a child to me.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think
she gets it now because she works in the business, and we rely only on this to pay our son everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it was not like it was difficult to explain.
Yeah, it was kind of. I think it was a little bit difficult to explain in the beginning, but Justin's there a lot. He's not working there. Sometimes he will if I'm sure, but I think he sees it. He sees how much effort I'm putting in, so he understands like how much work it takes. But we both make the effort to spend time together when we're together and make the most of that time. And I think that's really important, you know.
And you can do it without the phone on?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that. I mean, I'm addicted to it.
Yeah, at first we were like on our phones a lot, and then we decided, you know, after this amount of time, like after 8 o'clock, we're not going to have our phone anymore.
And
so
it works?
It works, yeah.
Good for you. Lauren's watching right now. We might be doing that, Lauren. She's
gonna be
like, I love Kathryn Matthews is what she's saying right now. Don't listen to her wife. Don't listen to her. What is the hardest part of owning and operating Iron Paffles and Coffee and being an entrepreneur?
Switching off. Yeah, it's definitely switching off because people think...
I can't do it.
Yeah, people think when you have a day off, you can just switch off.
Chill on the couch and watch Netflix?
Yeah, no. Like, I'm always, like, fretting about it. And it's actually really good for me, but I'll go for hikes where I don't have any signal.
I've noticed that on your social.
Yeah, and there's so many beautiful hikes around here as well, but that's what I have to do. I can't connect to the internet, and I'm out, so...
Did you struggle with the management of people? I struggle with that.
At first I did.
The human resources piece and managing the personalities and being like a therapist.
Yeah.
I was like, this sucks.
It's really interesting because I've managed before, and when it's your own, it's so much more different. Like, it's your baby, and you kind of want people to treat it the same way as you.
To love it the same way.
Yeah, you want them to care about it as much as you. And, you know, when I was managing at the Hilton, for example, like, people equally didn't care, but they still represented when you needed them to. And, you know, they're not losing your money, they're losing someone else's money. Right. So it's really, really hard to find, you know, like I said in the beginning, have those boundaries.
I've struggled with that as well. Brent Walters, thank you for joining us on the broadcast. April Marshall, thank you for joining us on the broadcast. She's crushing it. What is the... You know, I've seen you earlier when we did the piece, the feature for I Love CVille, and talking with you now for 40 minutes today, you were so confident.
Yeah.
How has the business given you like an oomph, a confidence boost? How has it been like, how's it empowered you?
Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, I definitely didn't have that confidence. And I think it was like seeing return customers come back and...
Happy?
Yeah, they're happy. Seeing the comments on social media about how much people love the products. Different review sites, you know, have a great score on there right now. So that certainly helped. I think it was just like a lot of nice comments over a period of time, which really helped me.
It's impressive because I get the same way. And another question that's being asked now is talk about how it's difficult to find folks to work for you.
Yeah.
This is coming from a restaurateur who calls it the Wegmans Effect, which we've dubbed here on I Love CVille. Talk about the Wegmans Effect.
I mean...
The A and B players that worked in the restaurant scene, and I'm not trying to marginalize anybody, but the folks that were the A, B, and the high C players are no longer working in the restaurant scene in Charlottesville. They went to Wegmans, where they're maybe working a meat counter, the cheese counter, they're getting bennies.
Yeah.
They're getting more, I mean...
Yeah. I mean, it's really difficult to find people. And actually, I stopped hiring people just because they had experience. If I felt like they didn't have the right attitude or the right schedule for me, I would rather work 100 hours a week. So I started working more and waiting to find good people. But also right now, I hired people who don't have any cooking experience, so I could kind of mold them.
Yeah, because
and also,
they're not like tainted.
Yeah, they're definitely not tainted. They don't have the attitude problem. I hired people who had a really good attitude, good customer service skills, and worked really hard.
Is that the qualities you're looking for when hiring somebody?
Yeah. Reliable is important. Yeah.
In the restaurant business?
Yeah, it's so important. Like, really important.
Here's a question from Instagram. Kathryn, which sandwich are you most proud of?
I guess like the chicken and Puffles I'm really proud of because, I mean, it's a Southern American dish. I'm coming from England, and to come up with something that people like really, really love is, you know, it meant a lot to me because I know like when I was coming into the city.
Is that the most popular?
It's the most popular.
Is it?
Yeah.
What are the top 3 bestsellers?
So chicken and Puffles.
That one's good.
The Iron Glory.
That one's good.
And then the Maiden.
Iron Glory is my favorite.
The Iron Glory is delicious.
Anderson in CVille says, what's your take on savory versus sweet?
Well,
favorite of each, and why savory versus sweet, which sells better?
Yeah. So I personally recommend the savory, and I think that's because people, when they think of waffles, they think of sweet. And then when they try the savory, they're just so surprised at how good it is and how much it works. So I recommend savory, but then I also recommend, maybe get an open face sweet if you like having the sweet. My favorite, I actually like the veggie iron, which is the tofu scramble. It's seasonal, so right now it has roasted Brussels sprouts and caramelized onions. But because that one surprised me even. Like, I created the recipe and I made it.
All the recipes are yours?
Yeah. I create everything. We make everything from scratch.
What's the testing process? Do you just create something and launch it on the menu?
Or is
there like a beta period?
Yeah, so at first there was a beta period, but
and how do you incubate? You incubate the sandwiches with your friends?
No, I just do it with me. Okay. So I just try it. So I have a good palate, especially with spices and things like that. Like, I had an Indian neighbor, and they taught me a lot of things. So
Iron Glory, how many iterations did it go through before it went on the menu?
I mean, it went through... Because
that sandwich is badass.
Yeah. It went through a lot. It was mostly, something simple as like seasoning, salt and pepper, people get wrong so many times. So that was like really important to get the right amount of salt and pepper, but also like the right spices in the sausage, which, JM Stock does that and they do a really good job.
Yeah, it's good sausage.
Yeah.
We have a question from Jellyfish10 on Instagram. And if you guys have questions, we're happy to relay them like we're doing now. How about being a woman business owner in the restaurant scene?
I learned my first week in Charlottesville. That's really, really hard.
Why?
I had a chef my first week who was so disrespectful, take little breaks whenever he wanted.
Someone that was working for you?
Yeah, he was working for me. He would take breaks when he wanted without telling anyone. He would often, when he's frustrated about something, yell and was just so disrespectful. His first weekend didn't show up. And then even when I fired him, he was shocked that I had fired him. He was like, "You're firing me." That was your
first fire?
That was my first week in business.
Your first week in business?
Yeah. I know. It was not a good experience, And then afterwards, the abuse by him and his family on social media and then on Yelp, we rely on that. And, because he got fired and he's a fragile man, he went away and told everyone to give us bad reviews. So... But in general, we mostly have women working for us. I think...
Is it easier for you to have women working for you?
Yeah, and it's not on purpose as well. I've hired men, they just don't last very long. I think they have a hard time.
You think it's because you're the boss and you're a woman?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Gosh, we're still there.
Yeah, I think so. I have one male working for me, and he's super, open-minded and, he's very, very good.
And it's not just because you're in their face, because that's not you.
No.
You're chill.
Yeah.
I guess until someone doesn't live up to expectations.
Yeah, I know. Just people are fragile. I don't know.
Jellyfish also wants to know if you admire any chefs in town or look up to people in town.
Yeah, my favorite chef, Laura, you've met
Laura
her.
Fauner,
yeah, I think we come from similar backgrounds, so it's really awesome to see people doing so well when they've had a similar background to you.
She's watching now.
Yay! I know, I love her.
So I mean, I really like, it seems to me that the female chefs and folks in F&B in Charlottesville, you guys have like a tight-knit little group. I mean, what's that support like?
It's amazing. Like, there's no animosity or jealousy. We lift each other up. We're always there to help each other. And I really love that we're doing things for charity right now because that means a lot to me. I've always done that throughout my life.
And I saw that when we did the story about the chefs in Charlottesville, and like everyone was like so quick to recommend somebody else.
Yeah.
And once we like crowdsourced the list, because Laura and I were just spitballing on air about that list, and we came up with 6. And then once we crowdsourced it, I was shocked with like
there's so many.
There's so many,
and a lot of them don't get recognition.
Right.
So I really appreciate that list that you did. Yeah.
I mean, there are so many, and Kathryn, for like like some of the best brands. Like we were talking off air about your affinity for Thai food. Kit at Monsoon is a badass.
It's so good. I know. And like if you see her during service as well, she's just incredible.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Like she's just really quick. She's got a level head. Everything, even like when they're busy, the food goes out perfect. So
what are the restaurants you admire?
I mean, I really admire that restaurant. Duna's is great. I like Citizen Burger. That's a partial female owner. So
Julie.
Yeah.
Julie and Andy. Yeah, Julie's great. Do you go into the restaurants as the businesswoman constantly like critiquing in your head or like ways to make it better?
No, not at all. No.
Yeah, when you're going in, it's strictly for the food.
Yeah. I can switch off when I'm in different restaurants.
What is Kathryn's go-to food? We're gonna talk about some of your favorites here.
Yeah. I mean, I love so many different things. I guess like my favorite cheap eats, I think Lempo's really good.
Lempo is so good.
Yeah, I mean, me and my husband go and we'll get a pizza and share cheeses and we'll have a beer and it's always like under $50, which I think's an incredible deal.
Yeah, for date night.
Yeah,
especially with drinks.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you been to Prime?
I haven't.
Yeah.
No.
Is that your style?
I mean,
because that's an expensive price point.
Yeah, that's like very special occasion for me. So.
Where else do you like to go?
I mean, I've said I like Monsoon CM. I really like. I went to Moose's recently. It was really good.
Moose's is good.
Yeah, it's a great breakfast
show here too. And Amy, did you put your head in the moose rack?
No, what is that?
The moose rack is when you walk in and you go under the moose antlers and you take a picture. When you and your guy go next time, you need to go on because that's so Charlottesville.
So funny.
We're gonna wind down with a couple questions here. You killed it. We're almost done. We ask everybody at the end of the show: is Charlottesville better today than when you first arrived? Before we get to that, a couple more food questions. Craft cocktails for you.
I really
you like some beverages.
I like beverages.
Yeah.
I really like Alley Light for cocktails, and it's because they use a lot of flavors that we would get in England. So.
Your perfect Saturday. What is it?
Oh, I just love going to a brewery.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So the hike in the brewery?
A hike in a brewery.
Which is what we're seeing you're doing all the time?
All the time, yeah.
She's killing it. Okay, well, the last question for you, Kathryn. Do you think Charlottesville today is a better time than when you first arrived? When did you arrive?
I arrived not long ago, 2 years ago.
So 2 years ago. So is it better?
Yeah. I think it's in a small city like this, it's important to know where to go, and you only learn that from talking to locals. So now that I know people, I know where to go, what breweries to hit, what wineries to hit, what
Were people
hikes.
nice to you?
Yeah, people are very nice. Yeah.
Were people nice to your husband as well?
Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
She's great. She killed it. Judah Wickower is behind the board. I think you should. What's the special today?
The special, we made like a beef pot pie, and we got really good braised beef. I slow cooked it with some red wine, some thyme, shallots, and some carrots. It's super good.
Guys, let's get Paffle slammed. Laura Fonner says you did a great job. Let's get Paffle slammed over the next week or so. Go to Iron Paffles on Water Street. Tell this lady she crushed it on the I Love CVille show. Buy as many Paffles as possible. I'm telling you, they will make you happy. Try the sweet or savory. It's I Love CVille recommended. You crushed it. I want to thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Tomorrow is Kathy Gallivan tomorrow, Judah? Yeah, tomorrow's Kathy Gallivan, City Councilor, City of Charlottesville. She's going to join us on the I Love CVille show. I'm excited to welcome Kathy to the program. I've yet to meet her, and I think it's important to just have an open dialogue and an open forum, even if we have different political ideologies or if we disagree on stuff. I think being able to agree to disagree in a very pleasant way is what civilization and society is all about. So let's welcome Kathy on the show to get her thoughts on how we can make Charlottesville, Virginia a better place. My name is Jerry. I enjoy being with you, and I hope everyone is good to each other and enjoys their Thursday afternoon. Take care. Kathryn.
Yay!
So fast.
Oh, thank you. I had no idea how it was going to go.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. So here's the plan. We
Yeah.
will, for the next 2 weeks and change, 3 weeks, syndicate it.
Okay.
So you're going to get a ton of feedback. We're going to take this video, we're going to package it here, I'm going to write some copy, we're going to take the promo photo,
Yeah.
and then we put it across our network.
Awesome.
If you, we can send you any